Hey, good morning. Hey, as I was just checking to make sure my camera was on, I just wanted to bring you a few different thoughts today as we have this time of not being able to meet due to the COVID-19 virus, due to the fact that Kearney County is saying, we shouldn't be meeting. And as I thought about this, I thought about protection. Oftentimes we have this protection now that's supposed to keep us from COVID-19. Things like masks and sneeze guards and other precautions that we may take, the 6-foot social distancing, all that. And as I was thinking about all that protection idea, I was thinking about the idea that with God, we are protected. When we were young, we went to our parents for protection. Whether we were afraid, whether we were scared, whether we were hurt, no matter what, we went to them for protection. And so I just want to bring to you a couple different verses today as we talk about this, and then go from there and kind of highlight some of those things that are going on with all that. And so we think about Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10. It says, "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe." Now there's a song that goes along with that. "You are my strong tower." That is something that we should never, ever forget about. The fact that God is strength, God is strong, God is a fortress, God is not able to be moved. And even in the New Testament, it talks about Jesus being a cornerstone. And so the idea that we want to be protected by something that is not going to be wishy-washy. And so God is our strong tower. And so if we're afraid, whether it's this or any other time, or just need protection, whether it's something that's going on in your personal life, the idea that God is a strong tower to run to, because He is going to be there to protect us. And also in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 25, it says, "The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord shall be safe." Now this isn't so much going there, the idea that a fortress or something of strength in that regards, but the idea that whoever trusts in God will be safe. Sometimes we think about this and we think, we're in a situation that we're obviously not safe in. Maybe you're literally at the bottom of a hill after a car accident and you can't feel your legs. And you think, how am I going to be safe in this? But of course, this is not the kind of safe that we're talking about. We're not talking about earthly types of situations. Last week in Bible class, we talked about the idea that we are a tent. We are something that is temporary. Our bodies are just here for a little while. We're not going to be here forever. And so the idea that when we are safe in God, whether you think about it from a spiritual standpoint or from an eternal standpoint, we are going to be there with Him. That He is going to protect us to make sure that we are able to not be without Him, that He is going to keep us safe. I like this one in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, 8, and 9. "We are hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted but not forsaken, struck down but not destroyed." Think about those words in there. And all those things in which the Corinthians were obviously going through that Paul was trying to encourage them with, to help them to understand that though they're going through this, they still have more to keep going for. I don't know if you've ever ran much, whether it was because of training or because you enjoyed it, but the idea that sometimes in there it's hard to keep going. It's hard sometimes to keep going that extra step. Maybe it's because you are just physically tired. Maybe you're just out of shape. And again, that's going to be physically tired, but it's the idea that you need to keep going. And with our own life, sometimes it's hard to keep going whenever things are frustrating us. Maybe we're hurting for someone else. And I think about that from parents that are hurting for their children. Maybe their children are going through some tough times. But the idea that we keep going. Our faith is there. It's set to be a race, as it talks about in other places that Paul writes. The idea that we are going to keep going. And I'm going to read that again. It says, "We are hard pressed on every side." There's all kinds of things that are going on around us that are stressful, yet not crushed. Though those things are stressful, we're not going to be crushed. We're not going to give in to those. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Though we may be confused about what is going on, where is God in these situations? We are not going to be in despair at all. We are going to be able to say, hey, God is there with us. And we are persecuted, but we're not forsaken. We may be going through times that are hard. And I know in America, we really aren't, at least in where we're at specifically, we're really not persecuted. But yet at the same time, though we may be going through something, God has not forgotten us. The idea, that's what forsaken is. He is, if you think that you're forgotten, you're not. God is there with us. We are maybe struck down, but we're not destroyed. We may be going through something physically, but yet we are not destroyed. We are able to keep going. And I want you to keep going no matter what is going on, and I encourage you with that. In Hebrews 11:6 it says, "So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me?" You know, again, this is an earthly tent that we live in. So what can man do to us? Can they break our tent down? Sure they can. But will they take our spiritual life away? No, they can't take that away. There's nothing besides our own free will that's going to take that away. Nothing that the devil can send against us that will come and can take away that spiritual life. That is still ours. That's still our choice to do. And so I challenge you to keep going in whatever you're living, is to keep seeking Him. Go towards the light at all costs. And so I want to finish with this last verse. Actually, it's I think the whole chapter of Psalm 121. And it's quite encouraging, specifically thinking about what we're talking about here. So I encourage you with this chapter in Psalm 121. It says, "I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, He who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you." He watches over you. "The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life." Think about that. Watching over your life. He is there no matter what you're going through, no matter how much in despair you feel like it is. And then the last verse says this, "The Lord will watch over your coming and going both now and forevermore." And so as we go through this time, whether it's today or this week with the COVID issues that we're not able to meet physically, or that you're maybe feeling like, you're separated because maybe you're not comfortable meeting with us, and that's okay. But the idea of knowing that God is our protection, God is there for us. Some of these masks, they claim to help protect us, but in reality, they don't really protect us a whole lot. There's a lot of error in those masks. But the idea that God has no error, there is no error in His protection. There's no error in His fortress. He is our strong tower. He's going to be there no matter what. And so I hope that this is a little bit of an encouragement to you as you go through this week. And remember that He is a strong tower. As we looked at Proverbs 18:10, we looked at Proverbs 29:25, 2 Corinthians 4:8 and 9, Hebrews 13:6, and the chapter of Psalm 121. So if you want to go through those or listen to this again, use that as a way to encourage you this week. Hey, God bless and have a great week.